Hi everyone! First things first, I want to apologize for the very long uploading gap. I was hoping I'd have more videos edited and ready before I went on my vacation, but I didn't. So I will hopefully be back on schedule with uploads for next week, but in the meantime, I thought I would talk about something that I did while on my vacation, which was go to see Back to the Future, the musical. Back to the Future the musical is obviously based on the movie Back to the Future, which is a movie that I have always enjoyed. I like time travel stories in general, and this is a really well executed one. So I'm going to give my overall thoughts and some general sort of non-spoilery thoughts on the movie, and then I will go into more detail for people who have either already seen the musical or who don't mind certain production note spoilers. So first things first, I overall quite enjoyed the musical and the experience of going to see it, and I had a really fun time watching it. And now for just my more general sort of non-spoilery thoughts. In terms of accuracy to the movie, I thought it was actually quite accurate to the movie. I didn't expect it to be as accurate as it was. I think it did a really good job capturing the spirit of the movie, but it also was pretty close in plot. There was one fairly significant plot change that I think was done because the original way it was done in the movie was just not convenient to do on stage, and then they removed some elements that would have been too difficult to do on stage that I think helped to aid the switch from film to the stage medium. But overall, it very much was loyal to the movie, and like I said, it definitely captured the spirit. And they really captured the characters too. For the most part, the characterization sticks very close to the movie. I think Doc was played a little bit differently, but for the most part, the actors really did do, they copied almost exactly the performances from the movie. Like, a lot of the same mannerisms, beats. Obviously, some of the exact lines were different, but they really did capture the characterizations from the movie. So overall, if you are a fan of the movie, I think you will enjoy seeing the play, and it's really cool seeing it in a different medium and seeing how it's done. Now, the second part is the songs, and this is the one area where I did feel a little bit let down. None of the songs are bad, they're all fine songs, but a lot of them feel like they're just sort of there, it's sort of, they're just inserted in to get you, where you need to be, and, they're musically fine, but they just don't add a whole lot, and they're sort of just there to move the plot along. There are a few standouts that I think are different, which I'll talk about in the more specific spoiler area, but I do feel like the songs are sort of tacked on, almost like my favorite musical performance while watching it was actually Marty's rendition of Johnny Be Good, which obviously was something that happened in the movie too. So, yeah, I mean, they're not bad or anything, but I do feel like they don't necessarily add a whole lot. It's really more about the experience of seeing a stage production of the movie and it being similar and the cool effects and everything. But the songs are good. I definitely do think it's cool seeing a musical version of it with more songs, because I mean the original movie it did have a lot of songs in it, or not a lot, but it had a few, and the effects and stage production is really cool, so I do think it is worth seeing for that, and that does add something that you don't get just from seeing the movie. So even while the songs add maybe only a little bit, and only some of them really increase stuff, I do think the stage production is definitely worth going to see if you are at all a theater fan. I think there's some really cool effects. They have not just practical, they have a virtual screen doing some cool screen effects, so it does look really cool. Okay, now on to the more spoilery thoughts. Again, if you haven't seen it and really want to go in completely without knowing anything, I wouldn't recommend listening to this part, but so the plot changes. Obviously, the biggest change is that instead of Doc being killed by terrorists, he is irradiated from the plutonium. This is probably just because it's not practical to have a giant truck come and shoot him down on stage. Also, that didn't really age so well from the movie, so I don't mind the change. It is weird. It does mean that the warning and the time limit doesn't quite play the same way, but it's not a huge deal. The other changes that they make, obviously, they remove the dogs, which is sad. I do like the dogs. And this obviously also means that Doc is the one to test the time machine himself rather than Einstein, which means he doesn't have to wait till the end to actually use his time machine, so that's a bit different. Some people didn't like that. I don't mind it that much. I do like the dogs just because dogs are cool, but I also understand, actually having done a show that I was in with dogs, that it can be a hassle sometimes to use dogs for a stage show, so, I understand why they cut that. And then the other big one is they cut all the vehicles except for the DeLorean. The DeLorean looks really cool and the effects are done really well, but they cut all other cars, meaning that Marty is not hit by Lorraine's dad's car. Instead, he just breaks George's fall when he falls out of the tree, and that's sort of like he just gets knocked out there. And George originally got knocked out falling out of the tree, which means that Marty never actually saved George's life by pushing him out of the way of the car, which does sort of change a little bit the dynamic there. And obviously that's part of why George trusted Marty. So that's a little not great, but also, again, like, having too many cars on a stage could be a problem. They already had the DeLorean and it looked really cool. So other than that, the changes were all pretty minor. They cut out the ending scene in the house and instead replaced it with like a festival in town because they wanted a musical, which, yeah, sure, it's a musical, so they gotta have more like group events like that. But yeah, it was overall, like I said, quite faithful to the movie, which I liked. They used some of the same iconic lines from the movie, which I appreciated. In terms of the songs, like I said, a lot of them sort of just moved the plot along, but there were a few that I really liked. During the musical, I was thinking, oh, these songs are kind of just here, except for a couple, but then more of them started to grow on me afterwards, and I listened to some of them on the cast album. So the ones that I really liked, I actually quite liked Marty and Jennifer's song, the Wherever We're Going. I thought it was really sweet, the way she was like hyping him up, and I also liked that they gave Jennifer more of like a personality, because in the movie she was kind of just there, like, oh, she's Marnie's girlfriend and that's all we know about her. So I like that she had more of like an outlook of her own, and it was a sweet song. Another one that I really liked was the Cake song when he first gets to 1955. I just really liked the satirical nature of it and how they were thinking about how great 1955 is and like all this stuff that obviously we now know is bad, and I just thought that was fun to look back on. And then the other one that I really liked was Doc's For the Dreamers. It's a really good song. It really hits home with anyone who's ever really had a dream, who's like believed in anything and tried to accomplish it. And I really appreciated that the song really said it's for all the dreamers, even the ones who don't make it. Because a lot of times when songs are like admiring people who dream, it's people who achieved their dreams, but not everyone does, and it's still, they're still dreamers, and I really liked that. I do wish that there had been a thing with Marty relating to that song, because like Marty's whole thing is that he has a dream too, and that he has ambitions that go beyond what he's been told he can be because of his family. And like earlier in the Jennifer and Marty song, like she says they'll try to like control you or keep you down or whatever it was unless you have a dream. And I feel like Marty had a dream, and there really could have been something where he like had a verse in that song, or like had a reprise or something where he was talking about his own dream and connecting to Doc and how Doc also has his dream of time travel. And I think that was a moment they could have touched on that they didn't, and that's something that like connects the two of them and really could have explained why they're friends, because that's like the movie never really explains how they became friends or like why they're friends, and I think that could have been something that could have been like connecting them with that song, and I wish they had done that, but it was still a really good song. The other thing is I do wish Marty had had more of like a emotional song beat. I feel like he kind of didn't, except for that one duet with Jennifer, like, and then like his one little reprise when he sees his father being like beaten down. I mean, the one with his family was like kind of that, but I think there could have been more. Like, I feel like one more. He needed like a big solo song that he didn't really have. And I wish he had that. But I did like those songs, and like I said, his performance of Johnny B. Good was really good, and I liked the closing Power of Love. So yeah, good songs. Maybe could have been a little bit more from them though, emotionally. And then the effects. I already mentioned the effects were really cool. They had like a screen that was doing really cool effects with the time travel, and obviously the big thing at the end is that just like in the movie, they have the car come out like and fly, but it comes out over the audience. So that's really cool. That final effect, honestly, that alone could make it a thing. Like, it's a really cool effect. I wasn't even in the part that it was over because I was in like a balcony seat, but it was really cool to see. So yeah, the effects of the show were really great and really add to it. So overall, it was just a really fun time, a good experience. I sort of bought the ticket on a whim because I saw an ad for it while I was looking up stuff to do in London, and it ended up being really good. So if it ever does come to, whatever country you might be living in, I definitely do recommend checking it out if you're a fan of the movie. If you're not a fan of the movie, I think it would still play pretty well. Like, I think it would still be enjoyable. In fact, from what the sound of people in the audience reacting to certain plot things, it does make it seem like some of them maybe hadn't seen the movie, which, you know, is fine. But yeah, so I do think you would still enjoy it if you hadn't seen the movie, but it's definitely, if you have seen the movie and if you like the movie, it's like a really good sort of tribute to that and like adaptation of that. So yeah, that's my review. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all soon.